Good evening. What's going on, folks? Happy Thursday to you. Welcome to Pro Fan Talk. It is the Thursday before the week of the Super Bowl, and there's only two teams playing, and one of them is our team. So guess what? We're going to talk about a little bit about the hate that's been going on for the Eagles. But guess what? Everybody want to hate us, but everybody want to be us. So it's all good. Thank you for joining me. Sean, number one out the limo as usual, bro. You know I appreciate you, brother. Christopher Kicks, my grandson, kicking it in. Vince, I see you. TK, I see you. Wayne, I see you. Rob, what's going on, brother? Always, man. Got the boys first out the limo. That's what I'm talking about, man. I appreciate you. Gonna have a fun show today. I'm waiting for my boy Jason Dunn to join on in. He'll be in a couple minutes. But it's a lot of things going on, man. It's been a crazy week. The week that keeps on giving. Man. Think back in the preseason and everything that went on in preseason to now. Long time ago. All of the thoughts. What did you think that Jalen Hurts was going to do? Was he going to be better? Is this, can he pass now? How is his progression going to be? Are we going to have to draft another quarterback? All of those questions. We now we're here. Started from the bottom, now we're here. And even now, one of the things I'm going to get into is a little bit of all of this pettiness and disrespect that's going on in the media. And why is everybody trying to take digs at us for what? They just mad? I don't know. But everybody's trying to get one in. I heard the thing with Julian Love, the DB for the Giants. He threw his dig. Oh, yeah, the Eagles are great. But, the coach is on a free ride. He ain't, we could coach that team. And talking to the host of the show, y'all can coach that team right now. And it's like, come on, man. Come on, man. You ain't got to like us, but you got to respect us. You know what I mean? Acknowledge what we've done. We here. You're not here. Sorry you feel that way, but it is what it is. But real quick, let's take care of some business real quick. Where my people at? All my boys that are first out of the limo is brought to you by FanUp. FanUp is the best way to enjoy fantasy sports, daily NFL contests, and more. Win great prizes. Sign up today. Use promo code A2D. Use promo code A2D for 5,000 bonus points, a $50 value, fanup.app, and get to it. And I see my boy done jumped in. I'm not even going to waste no time. We got a lot of stuff to get over, a lot of stuff to talk about. So I'm going to bring in my college teammate. He's had the best of all three worlds, Eastern Kentucky, Philadelphia Eagles, and the Kansas City Chiefs. The Dungeon Dog himself, Jason Dunn. What's going on, brother?
What's up, my brother? What's going on? See how you had to do it, right? See how to come in.
I see you doing double duty. It's all good.
Yeah. So the thing, I kind of figured it. A lot of people don't have that privilege to do something like this. So I kind of figured I'd come in, because I had one of these in my closet. I still got my Philly uniform in my closet. I got still a lot of Philadelphia paraphernalia in my closet. When you look up over here, I don't know if you can see that young guy up there on the wall right there. That's a young Jason Dunn in Philly. Matter of fact, up in what's the name of it? It's Lehigh. Is where they're
Lehigh Valley. Yeah,
brother. Yeah. So
y'all had it good, man. We was up there in Westchester. We hadn't even moved to Lehigh yet.
Oh, okay.
So we back then we still did it the hard way, man. I didn't. At least you did you play in a vet?
Oh, of course. Oh,
yeah. You at least you got them rug burns to prove it.
Rug burns, surgeries. That's how I hurt my knee twice. That stadium. That's what that is.
Man. That stuff was, even when they tried to change it, it was hot garbage.
Oh yeah.
It was a hot mess, man.
People just don't realize, the amount of pain and things that the vet had. Just the ambiance of it, and the locker rooms and everything you talked about, the jail and all those different things with the vet.
The jail, I forgot about the jail.
Yeah, man. All that Philly grit. That's what that is. That Philly grit, man. That's what that is.
Oh my goodness.
How you doing, my brother? First off, man, how you been? How's everything?
I'm good, bro. I'm good, man. Just on the grind, man, trying to get everything going and get everything. The Super Bowl thing is just taking off, man, and everybody's still hating on the Eagles. And that's fun to deal with because it seems like for whatever reason, national media don't want to give you. It's like they very, very begrudgingly, man. Very begrudgingly, they give us our props. But it's like, then it comes with a backhanded comment. Like I saw the thing of Julian Love this morning on the what is it, one of them football shows in the morning. And he was like giving props to the Eagles, but then it was like, yeah, you guys could have coached that team. You know, Sirianni's in for a free ride. I'm like, come on, man. You a player, dude. You know how hard it is to steer that ship. Right. And to say something that disrespectful is just like him, Adrian Love, and the mayor of Cincinnati need to get together and go bowling. Man.
I hear you. Man. Yeah, I just got off the phone with my nephew. Okay.
And,
you know, he's a Green Bay fan. But the thing is, like, you know, we were talking about like Jalen Hurts, you know, and where he is as far as, you know, quarterback wise. And look, I talked about this on my show yesterday. It came out today. We're just saying, like, look, I think Jalen Hurts and Patrick Mahomes, both of them don't get their due. I believe it. I just believe both of those quarterbacks don't necessarily get their due. Jalen Hurts, to me, is a top 10 quarterback in the NFL, no doubt about it. With his leadership, legs, passing ability, just everything about him. I said the thing is, when you see his accomplishments, why are they not talking about him the same way they talk about like Joe Burrow, right?
Exactly.
So he's successful down at Alabama. Then goes to Oklahoma, right? Yep. And successful too. Comes in the league, doing extremely well. They didn't want him, you know. Doug, you know, I love Doug. Doug didn't really want him. He didn't trust him. And so I think that's really, man, part of the reason Doug was probably out of a job, to be honest with you. You know?
I can't confirm nor deny that, but
okay.
I'm with you on that boat. For real.
That's my opinion, right? I'm just but I just to me, I think Jalen Hurts is an incredible quarterback, and like you said, how hard it is to steer that type of ship. He's done a tremendous job because you can have all the talent around you, but still, you know, fall short, like we've seen Dallas do, and you know, Jacksonville and all these other places that has the talent around them, but still, for whatever reason, it's not the right pieces. And I don't care who you put in front of it, right? So it matters. That matters who's at the helm. And
that matters big time. Because I remember if you go all the way back, into the 90s, and I remember when and you know, hate giving the Cowboys props, but you know, it is what it is. I keep it 100.
Right.
When they fired Jimmy Johnson,
and
Jerry Jones hired Barry Switzer, and they won the Super Bowl that year, and everybody was like, they didn't even need a coach, and I'm like, nah. I don't care how good the team is, you got to have somebody steering that ship.
Absolutely,
and that person has to have a level of competence to do what he needs to do, because you've seen what McCarthy's done recently, and some of the mistakes that he's made, and all the stuff going on in Indianapolis and places like that where they got good players on that squad, but whoever's running the ship just ain't getting it done. So stuff like that matters. And that's why, like here in Philly, that's why it's such a good matchup this year, because especially here, you still got a big contingency of people in Philadelphia that love Andy Reid. They love Big Red, man.
Absolutely. Right.
Rightfully so.
Rightfully so. Right.
And Nick Sirianni came in, and after the debacle that was the initial press conference, he does what everybody else does. And he put in the work, and he let people know by the fruits of his labor on the field. And that's all that matters. Yeah, that's right.
So, and I know it's kind of one of those things. Look, Andy took him to the NFC Championship, 4 years? You know, I mean, he was an incredible coach, always, you know, has been, you know, genius offensively. And so the city embraced him, and they should still have love for Andy. And look, I know people are going to be kind of torn, right? But you're going to have your loyalties. I'm one of those. I have my loyalties, you know, to particular teams. Look, Philly's my first family, no doubt about it. I have love for Philly, okay? I have love for Philly. And the thing is, start rocking KC. KC got me. KC, I had the majority of my career out in Kansas City. And so when I'm looking at loyalties and stuff, I started talking. I said, well, look, one thing I want to do is I want to be no loyalty whatsoever. I'm just going to talk ball, who I think is better, comparing, two teams, two juggernauts of a team against each other. And so that's what I wanted to do on these next 2 weeks, because I'm getting I got a lot of interviews just because the Kelsey Bowl, the Reed Bowl, of course, the people that know, the JD Bowl, right? So, yeah, man, it's going to be good. It's going to be fun, but I'm going to try to keep my loyalties out of it. That's why I wore these two today. I got my KC. I got my, my.
It's all good.
It's all good, baby. Look, it's all business. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I still have brotherly love up there in Philly. When I come up there, I still get, go down to South Philly and all the other places, all the stomping grounds. I know all of them. So it's my home,
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. But real quick, I wanted to pop this up real quick in honor of Black History Month.
Okay.
I'm going to put my guy up there, Doug Williams.
Yes, sir. Dougie.
Doug Williams, the first Black quarterback to win the Super Bowl and be the Super Bowl MVP. First Black quarterback to be a Super Bowl MVP.
Right. That's right.
And I remember when we was in Scotland, and he told us a story of everything that happened that year. They didn't want to play him. Then he hurt his leg and all of that kind of stuff. But the funny thing was, man, after he won the Super Bowl that next year, they got rid of him for Jeff Rutledge. Wow. Jeff Rutledge.
Are you serious?
Yeah, man. After all of that, and I was kind of getting into it with some people on social today, because I posted this picture, and I posted my thoughts on it, because I'm like, when he won the Super Bowl, that was 88.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I was 18 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So I was young enough to appreciate it, but I was old enough to understand what it meant.
Right.
So, and this one guy was like, why does everybody always immediately want to make it about race? And it's like, it ain't about race. But when you was brought up and when somebody has told you that you can't do something because you're Black or whatever the situation is, you can't speak on that because you don't look like me. And you don't have, it's an inconvenient conversation for you, but it's a life experience for me. Yeah. So it's a different, and that comment and that quote ain't for you. You know what I'm saying? So, but just wanted to give a shout out to Doug. Doug was a good dude, man. He was a good coach, good mentor. One of those guys that always shot you straight. He would let you know. Had a little fire in him, man. He'd go off on you.
Oh, yeah.
If you ain't do what you were supposed to do.
Right.
But definitely wanted to show my love to Doug Williams, man.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah. Got love for Doug too, man. No doubt about it.
Doug was my dude, man. We missed that dude, man. He was he saved us because we had some stuff going on. This was in 95. And you talk about mistreatment. The head coach was Larry Kaharick.
Larry Kaharick.
Kaharick is a famous name because I believe his dad coached here in Philly. But the Kaharick name was pretty big, but Larry was our coach, and he was crazy. He was nuts. Both good and bad nuts. Yeah, but in this particular case, he ain't really care for what Doug had to say. So this joker tried to have a coaches meeting and didn't tell Doug.
What?
And so Doug found out about this, and Doug was like, "Oh, I'm out of here. Forget this." So Doug was packing his stuff, and then word got back to the big wigs of the World League, and Doug was a TV draw. People were going to watch because Doug was a coach. So they ended up firing Kaharick because of that.
Wow.
So
what? And they should have, because that's disrespectful. To do that. And that kind of goes into like the broader point of things. So like you were talking about. I was talking about this last night too, where the significance of having, Jalen Hurts and Patrick Mahomes, two starting quarterbacks that are African American, that are Black, in the Super Bowl. Right. And so the significance of it is like when you have a milestone, you have something like this, you should recognize it for what it is.
Absolutely.
And I understand that, like you said, it's inconvenience to some people, but sometimes you just got to empathize, right? like I said, I have daughters. I have 2 daughters, and if my daughters came to me and like, "Hey, Dad, this is the first time that a woman's ever done this, or it's the first time women's ever done it," I'll be elated. I would be absolutely elated.
We got the first black woman in the Super Bowl, one of our assistant coaches.
Yeah. Oh, well, see, and that's another thing. And so, like you said, the thing is, I wouldn't shun that. I wouldn't say, well, why are they making it about gender or woman or race? And the reality is, the thing is, you want to be able to celebrate these things, and you should be able to find some type of empathy there and say, look, you know what? That's a great thing. Everybody should celebrate this, right? Because not only that, but it talks about what the history of where everything has come from the NFL to where it is now, right? And we know this. We know, with some of the the bias toward black quarterbacks, especially Dougie, when we talk about it.
Yeah.
Didn't think they were, intelligent enough to beat quarterbacks, they ran too much. They not very good throwers, not pocket passers. They're not the typical quarterbacks of what you're looking at. And to me, it just, it's sad that people have to still have these thoughts or even say, hey, why are you bringing up a race? Well, it's not bringing up race, but it's also a milestone that people need to sit there and say, this is a good thing that's happened. Like you said, if it doesn't necessarily involve you, some people have a problem with it, but it should never be that. Right? It should never be that.
Right. My boy Vince brings up the infamous, will you be going to the Super Bowl as a black quarterback? Yep. And they asked Doug that. Was that a rumor or did somebody actually ask him that? Doug confirmed it. He was like, yeah, somebody actually asked him that question. So,
wow. Well,
but it is what it is, man. The disrespect has been crazy, man. I looked up and going through some of the stuff that they were saying about Jalen and Sirianni and all that kind of stuff. I came across, it was about a 3 to 4 minute clip. It's on YouTube. All the people that had all of this and all of that to say about Mahomes when he got drafted. It was the same thing.
Yes.
The same exact thing. Everybody got an opinion. And what you realize is all it is, they guessing just like everybody else. They don't have any extra information. All they doing is they looking at these guys and they giving their best guess on what you think that they're going to do. Because you look at all of these quarterbacks that done came out, and they got the stereotype measurables: 6'3", 6'4", 6'5", the golden arm, all of that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. But still, how many of them can you say got that chip? Not many.
Not many at all.
Not many.
Right.
You look at people like Tom Brady, who just retired. Tom was 6th round pick.
Yeah, he's true. Yes, somewhere last round, I think. But they
ran down there at 5'0", 40.
Yeah, they called him gangly and unathletic, right? He was like, when they looked at him, when he took his shirt off, he looked like he might have been, malnourished. I mean, seriously. So, but that's the measurables, right? They look for the prototypical guy, and so many of those guys prototypical that that you took in the first round just didn't work out. I could name a myriad of guys that went to USC, Alabama. I mean, we just go on and on about the type of dudes we've seen come into the last few years as first round picks as quarterbacks that didn't make it, right? And so that's the thing about it. When you see these things and everybody's giving their opinions about it, like saying Patrick Mahomes is all, he doesn't set his feet right, he doesn't do it. Well, one thing I know, Patrick Mahomes wins, and he's setting records every single year in the NFL, right? I mean, he's leading passer practically every single year. He's made it to 5 AFC championship games, all right? 3 Super Bowls. Come on. And they still have things to say. They
still got things to say.
Come on. Yeah.
Still got things to say. And it's like that. It's almost like that old guard don't want to let up on there's a new wave of mobile quarterbacks. People always want to say that there's never been a mobile quarterback to win a Super Bowl. And I'm like, yeah, it has been. Steve Young was a mobile quarterback.
Yes.
And can run like the best of them.
Come on.
So it might not be many, but it has been done. And I think a lot of people, the first thing they want to do is make somebody a running quarterback. And it's like, that's not the case. Michael Vick was a running quarterback.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson can throw, but he's always running for his life.
Right.
You know what I mean? You look at Russell Wilson when he first took over. He was scrambling a lot. He was moving around. So use what God gave you to get you out of trouble. That's what Justin Fields is doing. Justin Fields wasn't a running quarterback at Ohio State.
Right.
He was chucking that thing around. But now when you get to Chicago and you got an offensive line that's Swiss cheese,
Yeah.
You got to do what you got to do.
Trying to use duct tape to put that thing together.
Man, it's been crazy, man. It's been crazy, but it's been a lot of hype, man. It's been a lot of fun. I'm happy that for the first time in a long time, you got the two best teams, period.
Mm-hmm.
Period.
Yeah.
And they gonna go at it. Is in my opinion, I and I've been saying this. I don't know if you heard me say this. Jalen Hurts is the unquestioned MVP of this league. If Patrick Mahomes didn't exist.
Right.
If Patrick Mahomes is putting up video game type numbers, man.
Yeah,
you can't argue with that. And on top of that, just for the bonus points, he goes out and beats you on one leg.
On one leg.
So still being smart.
3 of his top receivers, 3 of them, loses them.
Yeah.
And gets it done.
So
you're right about that. And I know they was doing debate with Jalen and Patrick kind of all year. And I was just like, well, look, the numbers don't necessarily bear it out. I get Jalen he's a winner. I love Jalen. I love him a lot. But we're just talking about just the passing in itself. I mean, Patrick, man, is just he's at the pinnacle. I think he had how many touchdowns? 41 touchdowns that he had. Mm-hmm. So, man, the thing is you always know that, even with Jalen, maybe not having that many touchdowns, he still, to me, is a top quarterback in this league. And you can't take anything away from him. I don't care if you have A.J. Brown around him, and Devontae Smith, and Goddard, and running game. He's the guy that makes all those things work. He does. So
right. And he's never going to be in a situation because of how we run our offense and everything. Mm-hmm. There's a couple of games that we had this year where he could have had that game where he threw for over 400 yards. Yeah. But we ended up taking him out in the fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm.
So he's not going to get those stats, and I'm good with that.
Right.
As long as you get the dub, you get the dub. Absolutely. And everybody gets so caught up in what the stereotype optics should be, and it's like that stuff don't matter no more. You look at what Randall did. You didn't play with Randall, did you?
No, I just missed him by a year.
Yeah, he went to Minnesota.
Yep.
And you look at Randall's career when he left Philadelphia and he got to an offense that taught him how to play quarterback. I won't say the right way, but they used him better than they ever did in Philadelphia.
Oh, yeah.
And daggone kickers, he should have went to the Super Bowl that year because that was Randy Moss's rookie year.
It's Randy's rookie year, yeah.
Yep. And the kicker missed that field goal at the end that would have sent him to the Super Bowl, but that was his year. But he was doing crazy stuff, and it's finally, and I'm saying all that to say, when you got the right player and the right coach at the right time, man, you can be unstoppable. Because when we played that San Francisco game, listen, it was 31-7. However, that defense was as advertised. Them boys, Fred Warner and Greenlaw, them jokers were flying around that field and making it difficult for Jalen. And when we finally clicked on the light switch and started pounding the ball on them, that's when they couldn't stop us. Not to mention the fact that they couldn't get off the field because they didn't have a quarterback. So, but at the end of the day, that defense was balling.
Oh, yeah.
And them boys came to play, but when you stick to what got you there, when you do what you know that they can't stop, I always use the example, man. Roy Kidd used to put me in the back. We go on 6 or 7 read. They know we running it, but they can't stop it.
Can't stop it. I don't care what you do.
Can't stop it.
Yeah.
So, and that's what we have. We have to run the ball first, man. And that finally clicked in that game, man, and they couldn't stop us, bro.
Well, but the speed rushers, they want to peel their ears back and come after the football. That's what they want to do.
Yeah.
So the gate in that is you got to keep them honest. You got to keep that defense honest. You got to run the football. And if you're effective against a team like that, we mock San Fran. We mock them. And so part of it is the effectiveness of the running game, is key. It's vital to what you do. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't care if they had Purdy or not. I don't think San Fran was enough to beat Philly. That's my opinion going into the game. I don't care if you had Brock Purdy coming in and he was healthy all 4 quarters. I don't believe they was going to go up there to Philadelphia and beat those jokers. I just didn't believe it.
So we was playing too well.
Yeah, man. But that was another thing, just the kick. That was, man, it's Jalen Hurts and the Eagles not really, Sirianni either. I'm like, look, they're a very good football team. The defense is very tough. It was very stout, very stingy defense. You got some jokers up front. You got that back end of it just doing a tremendous job. And so I just, Brock Purdy to me was, hey, look, he's accomplished. I get that, but Jalen is too, right?
Absolutely.
And that's, I just didn't think they had enough. And so they just started pounding on them. I seen that Philly defense. And when that joker started coming around that edge, it was over.
It was a wrap.
Yeah.
It was a wrap. And most people, again, you give San Francisco their props because their linebacking core is deep.
Oh, yeah.
They're deep. However, we bringing 70 sacks to the table. We bringing that to the party. And it's like, you can't just forget about that because you got Haason Reddick, then you got Javon Hargrave, then you got Josh Sweat, then you got BG, and we got a couple of backups named Ndamukong Suh and Linval Joseph that you cannot move off that line of scrimmage because those are big boys, and we bringing all of that at you at the same time. So and it seems like people just want to forget that. They just, for whatever reason, they don't want to make the comparisons balanced.
Yeah.
Where my little slide at right here? Oh, here's my matchup. Not really a matchup, but these two players I'm looking at. Let me see. There we go. Chris Jones and Haason Reddick.
Yeah. Yep.
Both of them boys are balling.
Yes,
these should be the two finalists for Defensive Player of the Year. Unfortunately, they didn't put Haason Reddick on there. They put damn Bosa. Bosa didn't do squat in the playoffs. Nothing. And my thing is if you got some guys that are up for postseason awards and both those guys or all of those guys make the playoffs, let the playoffs count. Let it count. Because Chris Jones has been balling. Haason Reddick has been balling. So this is the matchup that I want to see what he's going to do, what Chris Jones is going to do against our offensive line and what Haason Reddick is going to do against y'all offensive line.
Yeah. Haason Reddick.
It happens, man. It happens in the trenches, man.
Yeah, it does. That's where you win and lose games. We know that. Especially as a running back, me being a tight end, we understand if you do not control that line of scrimmage on either side of the ball, it's going to be a long day. And if once you start, just beating those heads in, man, it is tough to get those guys off of you, especially when you start cooking the way that you need to. You start getting that tempo going, and it offensively. Man, when you start hitting them holes, you're like, man, them holes are starting to look a little bit too clean. Too big,
you get that zone. You get that zone, man. They can't mess with you.
Right.
They can't mess with you, man. So I haven't even started watching tape yet because I'm gonna go back and look at a couple games and start figuring out, where's the weakness? Where's the chink in the armor? And that's what I thought. Well, he didn't really get a chance to, but that was my biggest thing with Shanahan. Shanahan will test you in the first half, find out where your weakness is, and then he'll just hit that spot as much as possible. He just didn't have a chance to do that with what we done knocked the elbow out of Purdy, and what nut he could do, man. What nut he could do.
I'll tell you what. From what I know right now in the past few weeks, and I'm just looking. We were talking about controlling the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. I think Philly and Kansas City both have pretty dominant offensive linemen. Kansas City has spurts where they're it has a little issues on the edge as far as tackle wise. I think y'all have some of the best tackles in the league. Y'all interior line is very dominant. Our interior line is very dominant. We got a couple of Pro Bowlers on that interior line. The defensive line, with the Eagles, is formidable. Okay,
yeah.
And I know y'all got that secondary that is real stingy, man. They are ball hawks.
Yeah.
Kansas City, we have our defensive line. We up in the 70 sack range too. Surprisingly, we in 70 sack range. We got young guys out here, but Chris Jones is the absolute monster. He's the beast. He is hard. So that would be key. Try to stop him. We lost a couple guys last week from injury. That's our thing. Our injury bug is what hit us.
Yeah.
We're looking to call these guys back. But then the next couple of weeks, look, let them rest this week, right? We don't need you.
You don't need to practice.
No, we don't need you. Get as much treatment as possible. You played all year. Come that week of, the Super Bowl, getting ready for it. Now we need to start seeing you move around a little bit. But I think, the secondary, when I'm looking at, man, this comparison, Marcus, it's so similar in a lot, man.
Yeah.
It's similar, man. It's going to be a tight game. I see it as being a very, very tight game.
Definitely going to be tight, man. Definitely going to be tight because we, like, to your point, man, we are so similar. Haason Reddick wreaked havoc last week. Yeah. Chris Jones just made Swiss cheese out of the Bengals offensive line. That was almost laughable.
Yeah.
I tell you what, the one thing I don't want to see, which was very prevalent in the Bengals game, was I'm like, listen, the refs got to get better, man. There's enough on both sides.
Yeah.
And that wasn't the reason why the Bengals lost.
Right.
But some of that, like, what you don't want to do is have a bad call by a ref be a game changer. That's what always concerns me when it's a game changer, when you're missing obvious stuff, because there was some ridiculous holding on the Bengals and there was some ridiculous holding on the Chiefs. And it's like, okay, if you're going to let them play, but it can't be stuff that's just like obnoxiously obvious.
Yeah. Well, I made this point, and the guy was saying that, Bengals fan, of course, was like, oh, my guys, look at the holding on this play. So I'm just like, listen, you could call holding on every single play.
Yep.
In NFL. You really can. But within the confines of the rules in itself, if a guy's engaged, and I had to actually read it over because the guy gave all the rules. If a guy's engaged and all of a sudden the defender kind of like rips, try to get through, well, if my hand's inside and you rip, I've already got you. Like,
exactly.
So I see some of that. He was trying to point those out. I'm just like, nah, that's not holding. That's not holding. And so, like you said, we can go back and forth on each one where they missed calls or not could have called holding on each one. And like you said, as long as, look, you let them play, but it can't be something significant, right? And I think the one, to me, that kind of glaringly stands out was when they stopped playing. You remember when they stopped playing and it was like third down and they stopped playing. They was like, wait a minute, we got to roll the clock back. And that would have been a punting issue for the Chiefs. They'd have punted the ball. And they gave back to Patrick, and he gets the first down. So that, I think that was one of the things when they stood up. Somebody sent the meme with the head the head referee and Patrick Mahomes. You know how they give
exchanging the jerseys. I saw that.
Oh my gosh, that is so funny. It's so crazy. It was good though. It was just good.
Yeah, it was.
But the thing is, it feeds into like the conspiracy theories, right? Yeah. There's conspiracy theorists that believe that the games are scripted. They had Adrian Foster out here saying, I get a script before training camp. They know who's going to win the Super Bowl and all that.
Wait a minute, because I wanted to get into this.
Okay.
Did you see the whole conversation?
No, I haven't seen the whole conversation. I just seen the fight we're talking about.
Listen, you got to watch the whole conversation and you got to watch what happens after it.
Okay.
You watch the whole conversation. In no way did I think they were serious at all.
Okay. All right.
So my thing was like, I'm seeing all of this stuff go viral all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And then, I'm thinking like you, I was like, nah, and then I watched it. I was like, are people really taking this seriously? Like,
yeah.
If you can't tell that was tongue in cheek, because I'll admit the first part of the conversation, you like, is this like he was serious as a heart attack? And then the other dudes on the podcast kept asking him other questions. And I was like, that don't even make sense. Because the dude was like, so yeah, they had it scripted where your career was going to fall off a cliff and you stopped being a good running back when you stopped believing in God. And I was like, oh, come on, man. Like, you cannot listen to that whole conversation and take that seriously. However, that leads into what I was saying earlier about all of these media heads. All they want to do is take highlights. Yeah. Nobody watches tape anymore.
Right. That's true. You're right.
That's why you got these goofballs like Bart Scott and Chris Sims. Like, they making these comments, and it's like, dude, clearly you have not watched the tape. You have not watched the full game, like, or you would not say that.
Right.
And that's what the whole thing is. It's all about highlights, man.
And Chris and Bart, they're on a whole different level with things. I don't quite understand them too, especially being former players without, like you said, not even watching film or giving them an amount of grace. When I'm sitting there saying, like, come on, Chris, like, you know better than this. How is it you don't like Jalen Hurts every time you're knocking it down? He was doing the same thing with Patrick Mahomes, right? And Bart Scott he's just on a whole different level with things anyway, right? Bart's just that guy. You know what I mean? You got certain guys who he wants to be the antithesis to everything else, right? That's who he is. But we have a guy that we play with, and I won't say no names, that believes in the conspiracy theory. He believes that it's validity, right? Or at least he's questioning it, right? And he kind of texted me today. We love him to death. I'll tell you who it is after this. But we just, kind of talking. But, the thing is, when you see these bites and people are looking at these things, people do believe it. They do truly believe it. And you've had other NFL players say the same thing. These things are scripted. These things are not true. They're not real. It's like wrestling. Like, these things are truly what's happening. Like, so your bets and all things that you're putting out here doesn't even matter because they've already made a determination about what these things are going to be. And to me, I think the guy was being sarcastic to him just to make it sound like, how ridiculous is this, right? Like, Eric,
exactly.
Was this what happened? Like, was it a script for you to lose, how bad you was and stuff, right?
Yeah.
It's like, man, come on, look at it, right?
It don't even make sense. Now, the one time, I will say this, the one time that made me go with the arched eyebrow, and I was looking like, that looks real suspect.
Okay.
And that was the Washington game, where who did they play? Where they called Terry McLaurin for lining up off sides when he checked with the ump.
Oh yeah, right.
And the ump gave him the approval, and then threw the flag. And I was like, and the first thing I thought of was because if they would have won that game, they still would have had a shot to make it to the playoffs.
Yeah.
And the first thing when that happened, the first thing I thought of was the NFL does not want Daniel Snyder in the playoffs. I was like, because that's still a powder keg waiting to blow. Yeah. Yeah. So that's the first thing I thought. They can't wait to get him out of this league until he sells that team and they can be done with him. Right. But I still think that he gonna come back with something, or maybe the NFL might try to say something like, all right, when you make this deal, write in the contract that, NDA, after you're done, we don't want to hear nothing else from you. Right, right. All that's a mess down there, no doubt about it. But to make a phone call to a referee, right, at that moment, and I'm thinking like, well, how come it wasn't 50 plays before then? You know what I'm saying? Or, 10 plays before. Why they had to be that play in itself necessarily to make that call? You know what I mean? Because they truly believe that somebody's in their ear, in the referee's ear, saying, hey, you know what? They throw this phantom flag, make it be this. And so that's how these things get started. It gets started in those things, man. And it's in that realm. People believe these things really, truly do happen. But it is, man. It's sad. It's sad. It's just, but for the simple fact, when you look at, and hopefully we have a great crew. That's why I don't know who the crew is right now. Do you know who the crew is? I haven't heard yet. Okay. But hopefully they'll say, look, okay, if we're doing our due diligence, who needs to be the crew that's going to be doing the Super Bowl? And so, yes, you're right. You don't want them to be the determining factor, making these calls that people is like questioning, like, what's going on, right? But the thing is, they always going to do it. I don't care what it is. I don't care what flag thrown. You're right. People are always going to have a problem with it. That's the way the ball bounces, right? Yeah, man. And it's going to be. There are always going to be calls that you don't like. Like I said, I just don't want them to make any game-changing calls where you're looking at like, come on, man, how did you miss that? Like when we played, when we were playing in San Francisco, and the punter kicked the wire. And different things like that. Like the technology already exists for you to get it right. Yeah. And it's my opinion that, I do believe they're trying their best, but sometimes it's like these players, I think of it like this. These players and these refs, you ref enough games, you get to know the people. Absolutely. So just like players on a team, some guys on the other team I like, some of them I don't like. Yeah. If I like you, I might let you get away with holding, 2 out of 3 times. If I don't like you, I'm calling it all 3 times. That's a realistic possibility that I can see happening, because some of these people, you got to look at them like some of the way sometimes how they would treat Tom Brady. And, if Tom Brady took some of them hits that Brock Purdy took, that Jalen Hurts took, and some of these other guys, it would be a flag right off the bat. Right off the bat. So the thing is just like, whatever you're going to do, just make it consistent. If you're going to call it tight on both sides. That's all you got to do. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Who was the referee that used to always get Tim? What's his name? Always in trouble. Tim Duncan. He just had it out for him. Remember
the NBA ref?
Yeah, the NBA ref. Like that's true. Those things do happen. Like if they don't like you, you might have they might look at you, a little bit more, harder or more.
They're gonna give you the business. Critical. It's gonna be a rough night for you.
Yeah. Well, that was a problem with Chris Jones first of the year. I don't remember the one where he got the roughing the passer. And I think it was the one starting on him, just laying on. Oh, he laid on it too hard. It's like, what? What do you mean? What are you talking about? And it was like one of those things. And so, like Chris was having it like every week. It was like another call like that. It was like one of those calls, man. But
let the 300-something-pound defensive end stop mid motion. Defeat the laws of physics.
Yes, right.
And it's like, come on, that's just unrealistic.
That's unrealistic.
That's just unrealistic. Because I remember when they did that. I forget what game it was. Was that against Tampa Bay?
It might have been. Yes, I think it was. Might have been.
Because I remember Brady got slung down one time and they called a penalty. It's like, you didn't even do nothing.
You didn't do nothing. Right. Barely touched.
Like, man.
Yeah.
Like, it's funny, man. We the old men of the league, man. We did get off my lawn, guys. Looking at the way they play the game now. It's funny, man. Because I was when Tom Brady announced his retirement, I did a post. I put it on Twitter. I was like, you can't argue that Tom Brady is not the GOAT. Right. However, for my money, I'll still take Joe Montana.
Yeah.
Because I would say that if Brady played when Joe Montana played, he wouldn't have the success. But if Montana played when Brady played, I think Montana would have just as many rings, if not more.
Yeah.
So, he didn't take them dudes had to take some hellacious punishment.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And they had to get up and keep it moving, not to mention, and, sometimes I find it funny that I do like Joe Montana as much as I do now, even after he just denied my Bengals 2 Super Bowl wins. But it is what it is. But it's a, what these kids can do nowadays. Mm-hmm. You look at it and it's like you can't hit nobody. They can't, what do they call the penalty when it's not unnecessary roughness. We attacking a defensive player if a receiver catches the ball, and a defensive back gets a lick on him, you're attacking a defensive player. No, he's got the ball.
Yeah, right. He's got yeah, man. Look, the rules have changed significantly, right? And we like to think, for obviously the betterment of the game and for for guys and their safety. But some of the things that you see out here, man, is just like, what the heck are y'all doing? What do y'all call it? Right? It's just, and like you said, we are the older, like, get off the line guys. But it's changed so much. And the kind of that argument you was talking about with Montana, because a lot of it's nostalgia. I'm the same way. But I was like, I felt like you. I said, man, Tom Brady deserves the GOAT mantle right now. Right now.
Absolutely.
Right? I mean, Patrick Mahomes is coming up. There might be some things. I mean, as far as when we start talking about the accolades, the things that he may be able to accomplish, then that's down the road, right? But Tom gets it, man. And just, paying homage to him, man. He's had a tremendous career. And I didn't want to give it to him, Marcus. I really didn't. I didn't want to give. I'm telling you, I hated the Patriots for so long. Couldn't stand them. Tom Brady, the talker, and him being the greatest. I hated that talk.
Yeah.
But I had to recognize greatness for what it is, right? And
I'll still say, I still don't have no problem saying, like, listen, you take 2 of those Super Bowls off. You take the 1 Super Bowl off when y'all got caught cheating, and then you take the other Super Bowl off when y'all got that bullshit tuck rule.
Tuck rule, yes, sir.
Like, come on, man, you calling something that had never been called ever,
right?
And now all of a sudden it's a valid. Like, come on, man, y'all need to stop with that. So, Robert Kraft had some greased palms on that one. I was like, ooh,
yeah.
Like, come on, son.
Greased palms,
but yeah.
Apparently, he likes massages too. So, I'm sorry. I had to throw it out.
Yeah, Robert Kraft and Deshaun Watson need to get together and go bowling. But man,
You're the best.
but man, I'm ready to get into this week, bro. And it's gonna be a matchup. You got the two best teams going at it. Both teams have elite players at all the skill positions. And I believe, well, it should be, but it probably won't go like that. But I think it's going to be a defensive player that's going to be MVP of this game.
Ooh, that's wow.
Yeah,
that could definitely happen. It's good. It's good.
That's what I'm thinking is going to happen. Yeah. Patrick Mahomes is going to do some Patrick Mahomes things.
Yep.
Jalen Hurts is going to do the same. Mm-hmm. But I think it's going to be either somebody in the secondary that's going to get hot with a couple picks or a couple turnovers, something like that, or Jones or Haason coming off the edge and making some things happen. But I think it's going to be I just think that the game is not going to go how people go, how people think it's going to go.
Who's the DC up there with the Eagles? I don't even know. Who's
Jonathan Gannon?
Okay, I don't know too much about him.
He was Gannon. What did he call? He's a Vic Fangio disciple.
Okay, all right. Okay.
Like, listen, we weren't crazy about him in the beginning because you got a lot of media heads up here that ex players and like said. Did you play with Seth?
With who?
Seth Jordan?
No. Seth was before me also. Yeah.
Okay. Seth is in the media up here, and of course, he's one of the bigger names up here, but he always wants the defensive coordinator to just blitz. So that type of thing, caught fire.
Yeah.
And it was like Jonathan Gannon doesn't blitz enough. Now, at the time, it seemed like he wasn't.
Okay.
But by the end of the year, it's like, listen, he's holding most of our opponents to under 20 points. At this point, you can't criticize him. Y'all just nitpicking.
Yeah, right.
Because that was at the time where the run defense wasn't strong.
Right.
That was before we had Ndamukong Suh and Joseph.
Mm-hmm.
The big boy in the middle, Jordan Davis, wasn't playing a lot.
Yeah.
And it was like, what are y'all waiting for?
Right.
What are y'all waiting for? And we finally got it together. But when you look at the whole season, then it's like we got nothing to complain about. Nothing whatsoever. The only game where it was just kind of bad for us, when we was kind of looking at him side-eye, was the first game against Detroit. With Detroit, we won the game, but Detroit put 35 on us.
Yeah, I remember that. I do. I was like, woo,
So, but you live and learn. You keep going, and you make your adjustments, and you do what you got to do. And he's done that, man. And it's like, listen, I ain't got nothing to say because our defense is putting the smackdown on everybody.
Right.
So whatever you doing, Mr. Gannon, you keep doing. I ain't got nothing to say about that.
Man, he's got to play at a high level. That's the question. That was the reason I asked that question. Just for I know Spags. Spags knows. I mean, being up at the Giants for over the years, and going after Philly, he knows that city, that town, that air of different things. And Andy, of course, just offensively knowing different things. That's why I was trying to look at nod wise, coaches wise, right? When you got some really high caliber coaches on Kansas City, with Sirianni, the kind of the younger guys, what they do. But, I'm sure they talked about this. There must be a big deal about, I see some dude talking about, well, Sirianni got fired by Andy Reid, right? And so I know this is a whole different thing with the coaching aspect of things. I'm just like, he didn't get fired. He just didn't retain him.
Exactly. He brought in his guy.
Brought his guy in, right.
Exactly.
It's not the same stuff. But Spags, I know he does, he's being kind of criticized as well about doing, being one-on-one. He loves a lot of man. He loves putting those guys on receivers. And if you got A.J. Brown, at some point in the game, A.J. Brown's going to have a lot of man-on-man coverage,
That's
to
a
get open.
Right there.
Yeah.
Do you think I was looking at all the news with Sean Payton and DeMeco Ryan. Do you think Bieniemy gonna get a shot somewhere?
I really hope he goes to the Colts. I really do.
They got Shane Steichen from here. He's got a second interview set up after the bowl.
Okay. Well, I think it's Bieniemy's to lose. I think if they're really serious, you go get Bieniemy. And I think you go get a quarterback in the first round if you can, somebody that can come in and actually win some games. They got some young receivers. They got a great running back, and BNB can put some guys together.
Yeah.
Hey, get Jeff Saturday, put Saturday on your staff. BNB could be that guy. And so I hate it because kind of going to the same thing where BNB has had all these interviews and it's been for naught. But he deserves a head coaching job. He does.
Right.
Dustin got it. Nagy's done got one. Childress had one. Why isn't BNB getting a head coaching job? And I think Indianapolis would be the absolutely ideal spot for him to go. If he knows anything, I would get BNB at the Colts.
I hope to see him get it, man. But Irsay, man, that's a weird dude, man. So ain't no telling what he gonna do.
I know it.
He on some other stuff.
So I guess one of the things you had to do is sit down and have some beer with him. If I was BNB, I'd go buy a 6-pack, man, and go sit in the living room and have a couple conversations.
No, hey, knowing Irsay, that might turn into something else.
That's right.
Be careful with that dude, Shoot. My boy Sean's talking about Deuce Staley. Deuce Staley just went to Carolina. Because I know he went to school in South Carolina, so now he's in North Carolina. So he just moved closer to home. So he took that opportunity. Frank Reich is down there now. So they got some stability down there. I don't know what they're going to do with quarterback. Are they going to try to keep Tannehill? And, it's a lot of questions, man.
Yeah, it is.
A lot of questions. You know what's funny, though? Mm-hmm. Out of all of the stuff that happened with San Francisco, they right back where they started. Yeah. You got Trey Lance, who's going to be the starter in camp.
Yep.
Brock Purdy's not going to be healthy. He got Tommy John. So that's going to be at least 9 months of rehab.
Yep. Right.
So now they got to get another young quarterback or, get some vet to come in and be your backup or at least challenge him in camp. So they went through all of that stuff. Jimmy G is going to be gone. And, Jimmy G is that is the epitome of the NFL being a nasty business.
Right.
Because you are one softball toss interception that was dropped by Jaquiski Start from going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
If he catches that ball, y'all go to the Super Bowl. Or the series before that, if they don't go offsides on that one play.
Yep.
That would have been the game right there. So it's like y'all one or two plays away from going to the Super Bowl, and y'all just threw him out in the trash.
Oh yeah.
And y'all wanted to see what Trey Lance. You didn't like what you saw. Then he broke his leg. Then all of a sudden Brock Purdy comes in, and you got a diamond in the rough. And then we knock him out of the game. And now you right back to where you started from. So I'm very curious. And now DeMeco Ryans is gone. Is he going to take some coaches off of that staff with him down in Texas?
Well, I would say so. I just think that, oh my gosh, they got the pieces on defense. And so you plug and play, maybe a coach that can get those guys going. It'd be easier for him on, defensive side, right? I just think it'd be easier. Now, obviously, quarterback-wise, Trey Lance is your guy. I mean, you got to go with Trey Lance. I think the year of maturity, him being hurt might have been a blessing in disguise, for him to kind of sit back and just see things. But he's athletic. He's a good quarterback. And, he's under Shanahan. I think they'll develop him. I think they will develop him. I really do.
I think so, too. I think it's like you said, a blessing in disguise that he gets to sit in that offense for a whole nother year.
Right. Absolutely.
Very, very similar to what Jalen did. I like to say, when you can sit in the same offense for multiple years, that means you're reporting and you already got the answers to the test. So you know what's going to happen. You know what to expect. That's, in my opinion, that's why a big reason, not the only reason, but a big reason why Jalen Hurts' progression went so well this year. For the first time in his career, from college to now, he had the same offense for the second consecutive year.
Yeah, consistency
so
matters.
With Trey Lance out there, he can sit with Shanahan. You healed up. Now you got a chance to just watch film, watch what Purdy was doing. Now you know what to do, and now you know what not to do.
Right.
So I think he's going to be a little bit better next year because I don't think Purdy's going to be ready.
No, I don't either. He just happened to be, the Johnny on the spot, and nobody knew what he was going to develop into. So I think, Trey Lance is going to be the guy. But I think with the defense, just talking about the defense, DeMeco leaving down there, man, going to Houston, whoever the defense coordinator is coming in is getting keys to a Ferrari, okay, or a Lamborghini. And it's going to be hard not to go fast, right? Like, why would you take this and just drive it slow? So I'm thinking, man, dude, this is the best situation for you, whoever the DC is going to be. It's going to be the best situation. And probably the best thing to do is probably keep somebody in-house who doesn't go with it, right? Maybe it's, what you do.
Right. So, and we're going to get a couple of them free agents that come down there.
Woo,
guaranteed.
Yes, oh, yeah.
Guaranteed. So while the offense in San Francisco might be good, the defense might be struggling next year. So I don't know what Greenlaw and Warner's contracts are. I know they got Hufanga out there. I like to call him that's Palomalu 2.0 right there, dude. And let me tell you somebody that I've been watching.
Uh-huh.
That kid from Rutgers, Pacheco, Lord have mercy. Does that boy runs hard.
Woo. Yes, he does. He runs hard. Violence finest, baby.
Oh my God.
Down 55. Down 55, Violent.
Man, and with our secondary, we have a tendency to not tackle. So if you saw that play with CMC, he broke 2 tackles. Marcus Epps came in and totally ducked his head, didn't even see him.
I see it. It was terrible. I'm like, what the? Like, they didn't want to tackle this guy. They won't tackle this guy.
They didn't want that smoke. And then Gardner Johnson came in and just tried to put a shoulder on him. It's like, come on, man, you can't do that.
Right. It's not like he's a big guy either. It's not like he's a big back. You know what I'm saying? He ain't Derrick Henry toting the rock, so he ain't gonna knock you out. But Pacheco, man, the last game, I think he didn't want to make a mistake. He kind of ran very cautious. He was kind of running hard, but he missed some holes. I think if they look at the film, they're gonna tell him in the Super Bowl, man, just let it loose, man. Just
let it loose, let it go.
Just let it go. And he'll
figure it out next time.
He's been a bright spot. He's been a bright spot out in Kansas City, no doubt about it. So,
yep. But all right, brother, I'm about to get out of here, man. It was fun having you, man.
Yeah, man. Always.
It's gonna be a very interesting week, bro.
Yes, it is.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
So. But all right, man. I appreciate everybody joining me. Jay, you already know we're gonna do this again. I gotta come on your show, man. Let me know.
Absolutely, man. I'd love to have you. Matter of fact, man, true. We might get you on next week if we get a chance. How about that?
All right. We'll make something happen, bro. We'll make something happen. But everybody in the chat, I appreciate you. Thanks for joining me. And I gotta give a shout out because this dude was on the shot. Sean Kilrain. I think he responded to me. I think he's somebody that's from the Kansas City Chiefs Facebook group.
Okay.
So I appreciate you, Sean, joining in, man. Sean Young, Northeast Sports. I appreciate you. Who's else? Brian Daly, as usual. Vince, as usual, bro. I appreciate you. My pops is on the line.
What's up, pops? How you doing?
Ray Lester. Who else? Did I miss anybody? Paper lock sign word. I don't know what that is. But all right, we're gonna get up out of here, man. And we're gonna get to the real meat and potatoes next week because we'll be preparing for the Super Bowl. 2 men enter, 1 man leave. That's where it's at, bro.
There it is. Thunderdome, baby. That's it.
I appreciate y'all for joining me. Jay, hang on so I can holler at you after we end the show. But y'all take care. Please check out my content on search for my personal YouTube channel. Just search @ProFanTalk on YouTube and you'll find me because I'm gonna have some more content coming up tonight. Definitely gonna talk about all of these whiners in the media. So we'll be addressing that. So stay tuned. Check me out next week as we get prepared for the Super Bowl. You guys have a good one. Peace and be blessed. Where you at, Jay? I'm sorry.
I was gonna tell them, man, they could come check me out too. They want to catch a little bit of this, KC and him out, and Chiefs Concerns on YouTube as well. Come out there, subscribe, come and yell, do whatever you need to do. Okay, fuss, boo, whatever. All right, we'll take it all. We love it. All right,
we gonna make it happen. All right, good people. I will see y'all next week. Go Birds.